So hello guys, in this video we will be creating this button, and if I hover on here you could see it starts from this side. If I click in here it starts from this side. If I go in here it starts from this side. If I go from top it will go from this side. And one more thing I want you guys to know is if I go in here and instantly go in here, you see it doesn't start from the start. Okay, that is because this circle part, it's a container that scales up and scales down. So if I go again pretty quickly before it even scales down to 0, it basically continues from that place. Okay, like this you could see, but usually people do not do this. Okay, people do not do like quick like this, so they would basically be in here or go outside or like this. Okay, so it's okay, this effect, and you could use it in any multiple amount of buttons. So how about we start making? But before that, I want you guys to know is that it is actually a part of my template, and this is like the final part of the template where I've already shown how to make this one. I already shown how to make this one into, like, all of this stuff I've already taught on this channel, how to make all of this. Like you could see on scroll, then this stuff where destacking with text changing, this effect which was last video, and then finally this one. And this one would be a paid template that you could get from a website for $5. So it would be called number 3. So this is not that one, I haven't uploaded yet. This is the number 2, this is the number 1. So it would be something like this called number 3, and you could get that template for $5, or you could get all 3 of them in a bundle for $10. But if you don't want to get it, then you could watch the videos, like all of them, and make it from yourself and I've given all the code. So let's get started. Before we get started, I will also be linking this page in description. I haven't changed like the images and all in here, but it's called button fill, like this stuff, and this one would be having the code that we will be using. You don't need Elementor Pro and it would still work. So let me show how to make this, and this one basically has the code that we'll be using, and I'll explain a bit of the code. Mostly there isn't much explanation in here because there isn't much customization for the code related stuff. All of this could be handled with Elementor's customizing. So let's go in here and start making. So first thing first, I'm just going to make this 100. This again, this one is just like personal preference. Okay, we haven't started yet. So in here I will create a container, and this one would be my button. Now the shape of the button is up to you how you want to use. If you want to use percentage or if you want to use pixels. Okay, so if I want, I could use 300 pixels like this, and then say that it should be 200 in height or 100 in height. Okay, there we go, 100 in height. I'll make it be in center like this. And one more thing, in the template you would see one thing is that I've actually used this in like multiple parts. I'll also show how to do this icons, and you could see it works. And I think I've also added for these buttons, and you could see that you could give like different color and different styling pretty easily, and the effect works. So first thing, we will give it like say border radius of 10. Nothing's visible, so let's just give a color for time being. Let's give it like border radius of, it works better when it's like fully rounded. Well, we should use pixel 500. Okay, pixel 500, it looks nice. And one more thing is, in my version right now, if I hover on it, you could see the text stays same, right? But sometimes you don't want that. Let's say if you want a white color, this filling effect, then the text should turn to black, and I also show that. So in this container, I will add another container, and this one would be called, I don't know, you could call it like circle or anything. And this one would basically be our circle, and this one would be the color that's going to be turning. Okay, so whatever the color is, it would be turning that. So we have to make sure our main container has overflow hidden, so that anything outside this container gets hidden. Okay, so anything outside this container gets hidden, so that the circle looks like it's filling up. Now this circle needs to be a circle, so we'll go to our border radius, and basically in this border radius we'll make it like very high. You could just do 100%, and you could see it doesn't look perfect because it's not a square, but that is okay, because instead of manually finding a square, I have added a stuff in code which is called aspect ratio 1, and what this basically means is that it forces it to be a square. A quick test I will show. You don't need to do this, and you don't need Elementor Pro, but I'll show this. And if I do selector, and type aspect ratio 1, it turns to a circle, a square, but because it's a border radius, it is also turning it to a circle. Now inside this container, we will have our text. Now to make sure to customize it, we can basically hide the circle for time being and then basically play with the customizing and then call the button anything that you want. Now this circle, it doesn't need to take any space like this, okay? So we'll go into advanced and say position absolute. This basically makes it that it shouldn't take any space, but in case your heading is not showing on top, we will still give, let's say, a z index, something like 5, so that it's higher than circle, basically above your circle. And then all this stuff, you could kind of see it working, like it will basically scale up wherever our mouse is. And I'm also going to give an icon, and this is optional step, which is giving an icon and making it an arrow like this. So this is optional and depends whether you want to use it or not. I'll also make my heading to be, I'll keep it empty, but in case, let's say, if you have, let's say, white color and you say clear, it doesn't get clear. It basically turns to this primary global color instead of turning to clear. What you need to do is you need to go to your Elementor settings in the dashboard and tick this 2 marks, okay? And basically this does nothing but basically allows you to just do clear instead of, automatically choosing this one. So if you ever want to choose the bit before one, then you manually have to select it. Let's hide the circle and let's make this one go left to right. And we got something like this. This one, I'll make it black. And let's give it, let's say, 10 pixels of this one. Because by default, I don't know why there's 10 pixels at the bottom. And make it a bit bigger. Now the next part is in your container, I'll go and add an HTML widget at the end. You only need to add it once. So if you have, let's say, 5 buttons, you don't have to add it like 5 times. You only have to add it once. So in this page, we will copy DM interactive button. So let's copy this, give it to this container because this is the one that we want to hover, okay? And give it to this guy. Then let's go in here and search for DM interactive button circle. Let's copy this and give it to the circle. Then let's copy DM interactive text. Let's copy this and give it to the heading in here. Then we copy DM interactive button arrow, again optional. Let's go into the icon and add it. Now once everything's done, all you need to do is copy this code, paste it in here, and suddenly something might happen, okay? And I'll explain in a bit, but let's just play and see if it works in the live page. So this is how it looks. If I go in here, you could see it works. If I quickly change, it basically does this stuff. But you could see it works properly. If my mouse is around here, it basically starts from this part. Okay, so as soon as I reach in here, it starts from that location. And you would see that the button also kinda does this rotation effect. So let's customize it a bit. So let's copy this. Let's paste it in here just to show in a bigger text. So this first thing is called transition, and it's basically like how much time it should take for it to scale up. So if you want it to be faster, you could reduce it to like 0.5, 0.3. If you want it to be even slower, this filling up, you could increase it to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1.5, whatever. Aspect ratio 1 makes it square. With 0%, basically we make it like no size at start, and opacity 0, basically hide it. Pointer none is basically like there should not be clickable, so it shouldn't be clickable. The circle, basically this is for the circle only, okay? You could see that when there's a space, we basically say that in our DM interactive button, inside this button, the circle needs to have this code, and you could see it's in our interactive button and circle when you add space. This is just transition and all the stuff. Basically it uses this code around here, so I just made it so that you don't have to like type again and again. This is with 200%. So basically when you hover on it, it turns this container to be 200% size, because then it would like contain like the full size of the container, like this container. and opacity 1. So it goes from width 0 to 200%. It goes from opacity 0 to opacity 1, and basically has the transition. And for the opacity, it just happens instantly. So as soon as you hover, it instantly just gets visible. But when it starts fading out, when you move your mouse outside, you could see it fades out. Then we have text color and text color default and hover. So this one is default color and this one is for the hover color. You could see it is set to color white for the for the button text, and on hover it is set to white again. So let's play around with it. Let's make the first one be black. And you could see it turned to black. So I just changed the first one, and the second one would be let's keep it like, let's do blue just for the sake of video. And you could see as I hover, it turns to blue. So this would basically allow you to have, different colors. So if you wanted to just go black to white, you could just do that. And this is just how much time it takes to go from one to another. Then for the arrow, I just basically rotate it in -30. So if I hover on it, it basically turns to -30 like this. You change the rotation to your own liking. If you wish to change the color of this one, then you kinda need to do right click inspect like this, and then look for how they have added, because this is added with Elementor, right? So if you added your own icon, it would be a bit different. And again, this is why I didn't add the code in there automatically. You could see it uses this icon, where is it, like fill option? I don't even see fill option. So it is added by font awesome right now, so which is why I didn't do much stuff. You could see it is added with this color option. So I don't think that if I add color, it would work automatically. If I, let's say, type color blue, let's say like this, okay, this is semicolon, okay, not double dots. This is double dots, this is semicolon. This browser looks weird. Let's try adding in here, because I don't think it would work. And we have to make sure that this one has like nothing given, and you could say it doesn't work. The thing is, like, it's not impossible to do that. It's just if you use your own icon, some stuff changes in here. If you use like the Elementor icon, then some stuff changes in here. So I cannot just give like one single code. But if you copy, this Elementor icon like this, then maybe it would work. Let's do this and try. Okay, I'm just going to show for the button. So button arrow. So I'm just typing this same stuff. Inside this one, there is something called Elementor icon, and for that I want color to be blue. Okay, for that one it worked. You could see it turned blue for this icon. But then I want to do one more stuff, that is on hover. So when the button is hovered, I want to do something to this stuff. So let's do space. So when this button is hover, we'll do something to this stuff. That is, make the color to be, I don't know, green. Let's do green. I don't like to use white and black because when testing, because by default it will always use like white and black, which is kind of annoying. And you could see it turns to green. So again, this one might work and might not, which is why I didn't add this in like the template and code automatically. But you could see this is how it works. So most of the stuff I did show, but how about if we duplicate this? Let's say if I duplicate this 3 more times. Okay, obviously you could name it like anything. Okay, and then change the icons and all, change the colors for this one. So if I want the color to be different, you could do that. It would be blue, and for this one we will do something like purple. Now I'll explain how to give like different text colors for each one of them. So right now you would see that the colors are now different completely, and it works for multiple stuff. We only need to add the code once. But what if I don't want to use a black color in here and I want it to be like white to green? Let's say for this one, what I could do is I could go in this text and give it. So what you could do is you could change this to DM interactive button text 2, and suddenly it will not use the code that is given around here. So let's copy this DM interactive button 2. Let's just paste here, and all you need to do is copy this much part. the text hover, text default and text hover. Copy this, and then everything that you do is basically turn this to 2, and this one would be 2, because right now we changed the CSS class. So this effect would only work for which color should we use? Pink and green, like this. Now this one, it would only work for DM text 2. So if I go in here, copy it, paste it here, you would see that it's now pink, and when we hover it turns to green. Same for the button, you could do for the buttons too, icons to icon 2 basically. Okay, this one you just copy and basically turn all the text to be like 2, 2, this one would be 2, and this one would be 2. And again, if you want to use like same colors for all of them, you don't need to give like different CSS classes. So yeah, that's all. Rest of them is like very basic. It works in mobile too, so you could test it from my website if it works in mobile perfectly or not. Usually it would be not noticeable because it starts loading and goes in next page, but if you press on it, it would be noticeable. So yeah, that's all for this video. You could get the template for $5 or get all 3 for $10. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.